their meaning becomes more like a final moment.
Jack Sprague looks like he is going to win the race and the championship.
For 10 years, they've come, hoping for that moment. The moment where they become a part of NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series tradition.
Greg Biffle, our 2000 champion.
The moment where they become forever linked to series greats.
21 tracks, 18 different states. We've completed 4,055 laps, and it all comes down to one race. 134 laps and just 58 points separate Ted Musgrave from Dennis Setzer. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is presented by Craftsman. About 12 hours ago, last night, we tried to get the Ford 200 underway, but because of rain, we were pushed back. The trucks did make it out onto the track. NASCAR tried to dry the track using the trucks. 12 laps were run under green and yellow conditions, but because we never took the green, those laps will not count. And so we will start fresh at 0 today. Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, Ted Musgrave has spent a lifetime chasing a championship. He's never won one, but today, it's in his hands. And what does he have to do to win it? Well, first, he's got to dodge all the problems on the racetrack. He wants to show a little Southern pride. He wants to prove to everybody that Ultra Wheels and Mopar is truly the #1 team. Wendy?
The last thing Dennis Setzer wants to be referred to as is bridesmaid, the title that he's played in the last 2 years in a row. In 2003, just 9 points separated Dennis Setzer from the championship, and last year it came down to 46 points. Today, the magic number is 58. Dennis Setzer knows he has 58 points to gain or a championship to lose. Bob?
Mark Martin will be a regular in the Craftsman Truck Series in 2007, but today he is hoping to be a spoiler. The last time Mark Martin was here was 9 years ago, and he won the race at North Wilkesboro Speedway. And today, guys, he says he has a very good race truck with Pat Trison and the boy.
Let's look at the Ford top 10 point standings. Again, Musgrave leading Dennis Setzer by 58. There's could be some movement in the top 10 as far as breaking into the top 6 as well as breaking into the top 10, possibly being invited to the banquet at the end of the season. Todd Cleaver just 1 point out of the top 10, so we'll be watching that battle as well throughout the day. The big race, and Ted Musgrave. Who will be the 2005 champion? We'll find out today.
Here comes Musgrave looking to the inside.
Ted Musgrave is gone.
Every lap, every restart, Ted Musgrave has answered the bell.
Dennis Setzer, the man who is on the move. Setzer is there. Hit the advantage this time. Dennis Setzer. An unbelievable drive for Dennis Setzer.
Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Welcome everyone to Homestead-Miami for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Ford 200 on Speed Channel. Up in the booth today, joining me will be Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip, and guest broadcaster we bring in again, Darrell Waltrip. So we'll have a great day up in the booth, and covering the pits today will be Ray Dunlap, Wendy Venerini, and Bob Dillner. Take a look at the Just for Men track description. This 1.5 mile reconfigured track.
Yeah, the corners have graduated banking, Rick. That means it's banked more at the top of the track and less at the bottom. Of course, it's shorter around the bottom, but you can get a little bit more grip if you go up high.
Here's a race analysis. 36 trucks start this race, 134 laps, 200 miles per, so a little bit over $600,000. And the pit window is about 55 to 65 laps.
Let's take a look at how we'll start today. David Rudeman claiming his 4th pole. And Bill Lester, 6th time this year he's been in the front row.
Both Darrell's trucks in the top 6. You see Joey Miller there making his 3rd start for Darrell in 6th.
All Toyotas in the top 6, first 3 rows.
You have to drop back to the 9th spot to find any, or excuse me, the 8th spot to find anything besides a Toyota.
But it is Ted Musgrave, and I think that's important.
Points leader Ted Musgrave will start on the outside of row 4.
There's Kyle Busch inside row number 8, already a 3-time winner this year, looking to make it 4.
Aaron Crocker's back again,
making her 2nd start in the Truck Series.
Bobby Hamilton's providing that truck for her this weekend.
There's Dennis Setzer's going to start out from a bit of a hole, back in the 23rd position, trying to chase down Ted Musgrave.
That makes me nervous, being back that far with all that traffic around him. He's got his work cut out for him on this start.
final 3 rows.
Rick Crawford starts on the last row. He had a problem qualifying, crashed. A primary truck, had to go to a backup.
Huge crash. Knocked the whole tailgate off the thing.
41 trucks tried to qualify for this event. 5 had to go home.
Glaring, there's Tim Fedewa. He's been very competitive in that 65 truck, and now he's missed the race. It shows you how competitive things are, Rick.
We'll be riding along with a few trucks. Dennis Setzer being one. As we mentioned, he will start in the 23rd position, so keep your eyes on him.
There's Terry Cook, the Power Stroke Diesel 40, starts in the 17th position looking for a win.
Get a little heat in those tires. One to go here, guys.
There's Starr working his truck back and forth, just trying to warm up his tires a little bit.
Got Todd Cleaver here. Got a nice shot with him, and Rookie of the Year here in the Truck Series. Looking to finish things up with a win today.
Ted Musgrave will start from the 8th position. He needs to keep Dennis Setzer behind him, if at all possible.
Now, he looks just like the rest of those guys, but I bet you he's a lot more nervous than the rest of those guys. He's got a lot to lose today.
Yeah. There's Mike Skinner, with 2-time winner this year, starts his Toyota from the 5th position.
David Rudeman, starting on the pole, has the opportunity to win the Craftsman Win from the Pole Award. $22,000 on the line for his team today. 58 points separate Ted Musgrave and Dennis Setzer. That means Setzer is going to have to beat Ted Musgrave by at least 12 to 15 positions, no matter where they're running on the track today.
But it also means that both these cats have to run every lap. You can't have a flat tire. I think that would do you in. You can't have a motor problem. You can't get in a wreck. I mean, every lap has to be run today to be champion.
Yeah, if you're going to win the championship, you're going to have a perfect race. I don't think that they're going to give it to you. You're going to have to go out there and earn it.
This is a guy that was talking about a party last night. That party's going to have to be tonight if it happens.
No, he had it anyway.
You know, we were here 12 hours ago trying to do this, and how much sleep do you think Ted Musgrave and Gene Need and Jimmy Smith and Dennis Setzer and Eric Phillips and David Dollar, how much sleep do you think they got last night?
I don't know, but I kind of felt, I played like I was them. I went back to my motor coach, had a bologna sandwich, a can of Beanie Weenies, and watched a movie.
There's Eric Phillips right there, crew chief for Dennis Setzer. What a terrific year they've had, regardless of what happens today.
4 wins, led a bunch of laps. It's been a great year for Dennis Setzer. One on every kind of track there is.
It's all in the hands of David Rudeman now. Daryl, if you would do the honors,
oh,
please.
Baby, yeah, one more time. Here they come to the line, green flags out. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Great start for David Rudeman. He has the preferred line. Nobody on his outside, so he will dictate how they run through turns 1 and 2.
Watch that truck on the outside, though, man. That momentum on that outside there will get him right up there to the back bumper. Rudeman off of 2.
You could see how important it was for Rudeman to clear that other truck as they entered turn 1, because Bill Lester on the outside of Jack Sprague just drove right around him. So Rudeman wanted to lead this first lap. It was important for him to get that jump on the start.
Remember, there's been a lot of track drying going on here.
Oh, got one around already. It's the 9 truck.
Keep it up high.
Where's Setzer? Where's Dennis? Boy, that's just what you don't want to see when you're back in the pack like Setzer was.
There's Justin Hobgood right there. There's Ted Musgrave. Obviously, he was in front of that situation.
Wow.
There's Dennis. No worse for the wear there.
No, but let me tell you, that's the kind of things that you fear right there.
Justin did a great job, though. He got that thing sideways and didn't let it shoot back across the track. We've seen guys clobber that inside wall in the past here, Phil. He kept it up high, minimal damage to his Toyota.
Can still drive straight.
Let's see if we can take a look at what happened there.
It's driving straight now, dude.
Just got loose there. He was.
Yeah, he got a little high getting into 3 over there, and he just come around on him.
Yeah, made just slightest bit of contact with the outside wall, and dude did a great job, as you mentioned, Michael, right there. There went Dennis Setzer.
Right down the inside, right back.
1 lap complete at Homestead-Miami, and so far, no one in trouble other than Justin Hobgood.
You know, one of the greatest gifts you could get for Christmas this year would be Craftsman's new plasma cutter. I'm telling you, this thing is a lot of fun. You know, race teams use this almost every week, and here's why. Let me show you that this frame rail right here. Now, this got wrecked in one of our Craftsman Truck Series races. So what they did was they took an acetylene torch and they cut this edge off. Now look how boogered up that is. That looks terrible, and it burns the paint all the way back. Now I cut this little hole out with my plasma cutter, and I'm telling you, it doesn't mess with the paint, gives you a real nice straight line, and that's the most important thing. And you know what? My wife is always saying to me, honey, why don't you bring me some flowers? So, honey, I I got you a flower right here. This will be nice for her. The important thing to realize is you don't want jagged up, boogered cuts like this. Get yourself a Craftsman plasma cutter and you'll be ready to work.
Check this out. Look who's out fishing while a truck race is going on.
He's trying to catch a Nextel Cup Championship trophy is what he's trying to catch.
He looks right over his right shoulder. He'll see where he spun out yesterday.
Well, today on Speed Channel, you can catch Busch and Bud Pool qualifying live from right here at Homestead-Miami at 11 a.m. Eastern, right after our truck race. Busch Pool qualifying. Our trucks from Clint Boyer are in a battle for the champion, just like we've got a championship battle going on. Find out how they'll line up for today's race. And then at 1 p.m. Eastern, the chase for the Nextel Cup has come down to the last race. Can anyone catch the man out fishing right now, Tony Stewart? That's Bud Pool qualifying. It all starts today right here on the Speed Channel. And there's another one fishing for a championship, Mark Truex Jr.
Johnny Morris there, Bass Pro Shops. He knows a little bit about fishing.
Well, lights are off and we're on one to go here, guys.
Ray, what's going on with Ted Musgrave?
Well, Rick, just want to let you know, what do you do when you're ready to chase a championship? You have all your tools sitting out ready to go. You have everything you're going to need. And how about this? These guys have all the front pieces you might have to put onto the truck. And on this part right here, check this out over here. They've got it all set up to put right onto the race truck. If the front nose gets cut off of Ted Musgrave's truck, they got another one ready to go on in about 15 seconds. Wendy?
Ray, we know these trucks were set up for last night when there was expected to be a lot of grip. That grip will begin to go away as the sun warms up and the track will be slick. When I talked to Gene Need, crew chief on Ted Musgrave, he said, well, we were actually set up for last night. We were expecting a lot of grip, so their setup may make them struggle throughout the race. But when I talked to Eric Phillips and Dennis Setzer this morning, they said they are definitely more comfortable with a daytime race. Their truck was the best it was ever in the hot part of the day, and that may just be the competitive edge that Dennis Setzer needs to swipe away that championship.
Hey, Rick, what we find, though, when we test here and running at Homestead, the track retains much of its grip through lunch. Once the sun sets on this track till after lunchtime, then it starts to give up some grip. So I suspect right now the conditions are similar to what they would have faced last night and will remain that way throughout most of this race. The conditions will deteriorate, like Wendy says, as we go forward, but I think this race will be over before they get real bad.
Restarting on lap number 5, green flag flies. David Rudiman continues to lead the field. This is the 9th time Rudiman has led this season. Last time it was when he won at Nashville.
We have a Toyota parade right now up front. Rudiman, Bill Lester in second, the 60 truck of Jack Sprague third, and Brandon Witt in the 38 DW Boogity Grill Toyota.
Yeah, right there. Brandon's, you know, he had that win at Memphis. He's due for another one too.
I think it's interesting these Toyotas qualify so well, and then when the race starts, things sort of level out. You'll see Chevys and Dodges and everybody come to the front, but man, they can't match the Toyotas in qualifying.
Michael, I think that's aero. I believe the Toyota's got a little bit slicker aero package for qualifying, but maybe not the kind of downforce they need for the race.
Look at there.
On the way up.
Look at him wiggle.
A little bit loose, too.
He needs to be careful with that Aaron's Dream machine.
Battle for second.
Trying to take away the second spot from Bill Lester. Sprague on the inside in the number 60, Lester on the outside in the 22.
Boy, that's tough racing right there, side by side. And there goes Sprague. It's hard to get under somebody in these trucks.
Jack Sprague losing the rear end a little bit, having to get out of it, and that allows Brandon Witt to move ahead of Jack Sprague. Wendy.
Jack Sprague has been amazed with Toyota's horsepower and the advantage in the technology department since he's came over to the 60 Toyota truck. And he's always had success here at Homestead, but somehow that win has always slipped away from him, he said. He said it's important to have a truck handling well here, and he expects to run well with a Toyota under his hood.
It just gets down under the other trucks here, you know, going into turn 3. And you'd like to be able to take that position away, but that truck on the outside, just when the 22 gets up to his door, it sucks that back in right around on that Toyota, and is just about to spun that bad boy out. And we got a truck high in turn 1. Is that Musgrave?
That was Musgrave.
Oh, and Johnny Benson, he's all over the place again. Wow, these guys are all over it this morning.
I think the racetrack is still slick from the residue from the jet dryers.
I think you're right, Phil. A little sand down here in the Florida area, and the jet dryers. Track conditions are not great right now.
Let's see if we can take a look back at what happened to Ted. You see he's driving right now the Mopar Dodge. Here he goes down into turn number 1. There's Talbot on the 30 truck right on his rear tailgate. He gets loose, wiggles, gets in the corner, has to chase the truck up the hill. Fortunately, as you mentioned, Michael, there's grip all the way to the top of the racetrack. He didn't get in the loose stuff and lose the back end.
Phil, let me tell you something. With Todd right under his back bumper like that, Ted takes a glance back to see where he is. You lose your focus just for a second, and you go up the hill.
Wow, look at Johnny Benson. He has been all over the place in the early going, Phil. He's going forward, but he keeps getting sideways. And then 3 or 4 trucks will pass him, but he's tried to pass Joey Miller since they said go today.
I'll tell you, that 88 Menards truck right there, Matt Crafton, he looked awfully good in practice yesterday. I'll look for him to have a great run.
Look at him. Look at him around the outside, Phil.
Getting a great run on the outside right there.
Matt Crafton looking for his first ever win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
You know, we talk about a good battle for second. There's Jack Sprague going to give it another try, Bill Lester. He's not going to drive it down to the inside of him this time. He learned his lesson.
Lester running on the high side in that number 22. Jack Sprague in the 60 just behind him. That's your top 3 out in front, pulling away from the field. The NTN bearings, number 17 of David Rudiman. We'll be back to Homestead. More. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed Channel is brought to you by Ford F-150, built Ford tough. By Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And by High Endurance Oils from Mobil, official lubricants of NASCAR. Rudiman holding on to the top spot, putting some distance between himself and now second place Jack Sprague, just over 2.5 seconds.
You can see the battle for second's been intense, Rick. They finally sorted it all out. Sprague grabbed second, brought Brandon Witt with them. And Matt Crafton's the fastest cat on the track right now. He's running up high, and he's really picking them up and putting them down.
Michael, I haven't run on this track since they've redone it. Do you get any draft here? Can you feel a little draft down these straightaways?
Oh, big time draft, especially with these trucks knocking such a huge hole in the air. I mean, the drag off these trucks is tremendous. So these guys are really taking advantage of that, and they can suck down on Rudiman from where they are there, Darrell.
Crafton started in 10th, has moved up to 5th. Wendy, how's he doing?
He has been pretty good in these first beginning laps. He said that they made an air pressure adjustment on these tires before the race, and he is not happy with that air pressure adjustment. He has requested that they go back to what they originally started with on their first pit stop.
You know, we often talk about how good somebody is at a certain racetrack. Well, anything that happened at this racetrack before 2003 doesn't count, because the racetrack was so different. Actually, in 2 other configurations, it's nothing like it is now. So really, the only thing that matters is how these guys have done the last 2 years.
Dennis Setzer getting passed by the number 10 of Terry Cook.
He was actually down under him, Rick. Setzer's moving forward, and Ted's kind of drifting back a little bit. Ted's doing just what he needs to do right now. He's running 12th. He's got his truck up under him, real secure, following along behind 3 or 4 trucks. He's in a good spot, but this cat here, the 46 we're looking at, he's charging. He's trying to get that thing to the front.
Yeah, but he's been in a real battle right there with that group of trucks he's with, Terry Cook and Bobby Hamilton, those guys.
Look at it work, though. He's got it where he can cut it to the bottom, drive up beside Cook. He just can't close the deal.
Remember at Phoenix last week, Michael, he spun out on the second lap, had to play catch up the entire race, end up getting back into the top 5 and passed Ted Musgrave for that 5th position late in the race. He made a statement that he's not going quietly.
And there he goes by Terry Cook in that Power Stroke Diesel number 10. And so Dennis Setzer putting his fate in his own hands, moving toward the front. He needs to get in front of Ted Musgrave.
He's got a fast truck. That's all possible, Rick.
All he's got to do is he just got to know where Ted Musgrave is and keep him in sight. Ted's got to keep him in sight, and it's going to be hard to overcome 58 points.
And this is Ted Musgrave on the inside of Mark Martin, running on the outside of him in that number 33.
Did you see how conservative he was there, Phil? He said, okay, I didn't make the pass. I'm not going to push the issue.
See, Mark had just passed Ted a lap or so ago. Then I think Mark got in a little bit of trouble, got up high in the corner. That's what allowed Ted to get back underneath him. But Ted's not going to take any chances.
Here moments ago, Mark Martin again in that number 33 truck. Take a look at this.
On the inside of the 12 of Joey Miller, you see him wiggle just like Ted Musgrave did a half a dozen laps ago. He's got to use the racetrack, chase it up the hill, and that's what allowed Ted to get inside him.
Hey, Darrell, you better call Rudiman and tell him that there's trouble on the way.
Help's on the way.
Todd Bodine is hauling. He's consistently putting the fastest times on the board, and we've seen this every week. If he qualifies anywhere near the front, you just better watch for the onion. He's on his way.
Well, Sprague is, Sprague's right there too. He's getting a little help now, a little draft. I believe he's going to be the first guy Rudiman's going to have to deal with.
When we came back from break, Rudiman had about a 2.5 second lead over Jack Sprague. Now it's just down whittled to just over 1 second. So Jack Sprague is on the move.
Jack Sprague's on the move, and The NTN Bearings, the number 17, has led every lap so far. Wendy.
He may be our leader, but he is having a little bit of trouble on his truck. He started off a little tight in the turns. Now he said he's tight everywhere, and he just came over the radio and reported the clutch is slipping.
Something's wrong with that truck.
Something just happened to it.
He's off the pace. Unbelievable.
Wow, he was up to 9th in the points.
It's not going to go any farther, dude. It's just, it's bad. It won't go. It won't even pull itself now, Head.
Unbelievable.
What a horrible, bad break for David Rudem and that entire team.
He is talking about a slipping clutch, Daryl. Is there any remedying that? What can they do about that?
Only thing I know, if it got oil on it, you can take a fire extinguisher and shoot the fire extinguisher powder up in there, and sometimes it'll lock it up. But he's not going to be able to run this whole race like that. I'd say he's pretty well doomed.
Yeah. He's going to try to hang out there and see if he can catch a caution where the guys can do that.
Well, because David Rudeman starts to drop off the pace, Jack Sprague takes over the top spot at Homestead-Miami.
...2005 moments in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Almost into the wall. They're dicing and dancing again as they cross the start finish. And Bobby Hamilton makes the pass.
They think they've won the race, and I would think that too.
Guess what? You're second today, buddy.
There's a yellow light coming. I'm telling you, to me, that would be irrefutable proof that Bobby Hamilton would win this race.
And they're going to back it up. Here goes Jimmy Spencer. Bobby Hamilton finally drove it to victory lane. What an unbelievable day.
2005 moments in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
And that's the way it all started back in Daytona in February, and now it's down to 2 drivers. Ted Musgrave was 58 points in front of Dennis Setzer when this race started. Ted Musgrave started in the 8th position. Musgrave started in 8th. Setzer started in 23rd. Here are the points as of right now.
Got a long way to go, though. That's obviously, if the race ended right now, that's what the point situation would be. But Dennis Setzer, as you mentioned earlier, Michael, is going forward. He's kind of stalled out in his progress right now, but Ted Musgrave is just running the kind of race that he needs to. He knows he's got the 46 behind him. He doesn't need to worry about anything else.
And he's wide. He's hearing that motor make every noise. It's, you know what? I guarantee he's going crazy in there. He looks like he's on a Sunday drive. Folks at home, you got to understand, this is tense. I mean, every lap, even if you're running 3/4 speed, it's a challenge.
You know, you told Daryl a few moments ago to call Rudeman and tell him that trouble was looming. Well, we better call Jack Sprague and tell him trouble's looming, because that 30 truck is going for it right now. He's on the inside of Brandon Whit's going to take over the 2nd spot.
Yeah, now's when your handling package kicks in. It's not about anything but just who's got the best shocks and springs now.
Ray, what's going on with Todd?
He's pretty happy with the truck, guy. I just want to let you know that he's got a truck that he really loves. It's chassis number 51. He drove this truck at Texas to victory and also at Vegas, so he knows that this one's capable of going to the front. They did not bring the same truck that they had at Phoenix a week ago, but Bodine's saying this thing feels pretty good. He's heading right for the leader.
He knows how to do that, as a matter of fact.
That's exactly what he's doing. He's heading right for the leader. Qualified in the top 10, Phil, and those cats know how to race. Todd has a wealth of experience, and he's taking advantage of a very fast truck.
And Wendy has caught up with the first victim of the race, David Rudeman, out of this race. Wendy, go ahead.
Our pole sitter and our leader at the time. We know how good those Toyota engines were, but unfortunately your day ended short. It was a blown motor.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened. The motor was running fine, but the clutch started slipping really bad, so I don't know. Got a great team, got a great sponsor. We got all the pieces. We just can't seem to close the deal here because of mechanical failures. So we'll be back next year.
Right, and there's caution on the track.
Aaron Crocker getting into the wall. It looks as though some damage to the right front.
Not too bad, though.
Yeah, not a great deal of damage, but she did make some contact.
She get that thing fired up. We can get her some more tars. And
no, you see some damage to the left side of the truck. I wonder if maybe somebody else was
got
involved.
a little bit of help there, maybe, boys. We take a look at this.
Well, she's
narrowed that bad boy up. She slapped that right side. Pancaked it.
Let's take a look back at what happened, Aaron.
Flat right front, right damage.
Uh-oh. It was Deborah Renshaw, the A truck, that made some contact with the left side of Aaron Crocker, and that got her into the outside wall.
Wow, I wonder how that went down.
Later.
Erin Crocker running her second NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. She will be running the full schedule in 2006.
We're 33 laps into this race. I think we're going to see some pit stops here. We're over halfway on a fuel run, so I think we're going to see everybody on pit road.
Oh yeah, they'll come in and make some real serious chassis adjustments if you're back there about where Dennis Setzer is.
Jack Sprague running very strong. Some drivers saying that they wanted to make changes back to the way they had them during practice yesterday. Matt Crafton, also one of those drivers that had been running very well, was up into the top 5, drops back to 6th now.
This is about the perfect time for a caution for these leaders. These guys that's trucks are working well. They've got a good feel for what they got under them. If they need a pound of air adjustment here or a little bit of track bar there, this is the time they want to do it. So this could change the complexion somewhat, but I guarantee you a guy like Ty Bodine, who has the experience he has and knows what he wants, he's going to make that number 30 even better yet.
And that's going to be bad news for the rest of the field.
I agree.
The access road off of turns 3 and 4 is where all of the trucks will line up that are making their way onto pit road. Jack Sprague leading that group of trucks across the commitment line.
You don't want to speed on pit road, do you, Darrell?
Not a good idea, especially on the pit outline down there.
Go down to pit road and Bob Dillner.
Johnny Benson running 7th. He has felt his truck has been very loose, trying to pick up his first victory of this season. But Johnny Benson making a little chassis adjustment, some wedge in that number 23 Aaron's Dream Machine, right?
Hey, Bob, Ted Musgrave's truck is loose everywhere. They're going to tighten it up for him. Down 1 round on the track bar. Going to take a pound out of the left front and add 1 pound into the right front. These guys go to work on the Mopar Dodge. Wendy?
Dennis Setzer was pretty good by himself, but a little loose when he got under someone. They're making air pressure adjustment on left side tires. Our leader, Jack Sprague, also in with an air pressure adjustment, and he may be the first truck off pit road.
Jack Sprague did hold serve. His crew got him out first, right in front of Ty Bodine.
And so Jack Sprague holding on to the top spot, winning the race off of pit road. The real race is still between Ted Musgrave and Dennis Setzer for the championship.
No, it's the opposite.
Oh.
And welcome back to Homestead-Miami Speedway for the Ford 200. In celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Truck Series, we present the toughest NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series moments, made possible by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR. We've seen 25 or 24 so far, this being the 25th. Back in 1998, one of the classic battles in all of racing between Jack Sprague and Ron Hornaday. On November 8, 1998, the battle came down to the 2 drivers. Jack Sprague was able to win the race, but he fell short of winning the championship by 3 points, and that's because Ron Hornaday finished in 2nd, just behind him. So both of the drivers were able to celebrate. Jack the win, Ron Hornaday the championship.
What a battle that was all year long. I remember watching that race finish up the season, and it was just crazy how those 2 cats battled all year long. That was that's what the season looked like. The last race looked like that the whole season.
We always talk about the 2 names in the Craftsman Truck Series being so dominant. Jack Sprague with 3 championships to his name, Ron Hornaday with 2. Hornaday has the most wins in the series at 27. He added to that this year. Bob?
Well, Mark Martin is coming through the field, and right now he's just broken into the top 10 after that pit stop. But it's been very interesting to listen to Mark on the scanner. He's been directing his spotter to talk to a lot of people on the racetrack, and he had a problem with the number 12 car of Joey Miller as we go green here. In fact, he had so much trouble, he said, you know what? Tell him that I want to talk to him personally after the race and let me know when that message is delivered, because he needs to let me move over and let me by.
Well, there you go. There's a veteran telling a rookie, I want to educate you a little bit.
This is the Craftsman Truck Series. This is not the Cup Series. These guys are learning how to race here, and Mark needs to teach them a little something.
We hope that lesson doesn't take place on the track, though.
We were laughing up here in the booth about that. We saw Mark and Joey battling, and Joey was giving Mark plenty of room, but he wasn't doing it the way Mark thought he ought to do it.
No, that's it. You know, a veteran driver always thinks that the guys ought to get out of the way. I don't care who they are.
Got a new leader, Rick.
Todd Bodine taking over the top spot from Jack Sprague. We talked about it was just a matter of time. As strong as that number 30 truck.
It turned one down there, guys. He was up to the wall.
Kyle Busch stays out of the wall, the number 15.
And Mark got squeezed a little bit between the 15 and the 22 of Bill Lester.
Lost some momentum. You could see Jimmy Spencer going by the inside there, but Mark will regain that momentum on the high side of the racetrack.
Ted Musgrave, Dennis Setzer. Setzer now in front of Musgrave. And
is that the 9 truck around again?
Problems with the number 9.
Oh, yikes!
Down into the front of the
number 5 truck. He almost took out Skinner.
What a great job by Mike Skinner to avoid Justin Hopgood. What a terrific job.
That cat can spin out pretty good and not wreck.
That one was a lot closer.
Yeah,
he actually got into the wall pretty hard.
He's gaining on it though, Michael. It's getting a little worse every time.
Justin Hopgood starting this race in the 12th position with an impressive qualifying run.
Remember, Gene Need told me that he told Ted, if the 46 drives out the tunnel, you follow him. So he's got a pretty good eye right now on what the 46 is doing.
There's why we're under our 3rd caution of the day.
It looks just like the first time he spun out. Just got up high in turn 4 and lost it.
And you know what, Michael? It was early in the race, 2nd lap on new tires. Wow. I think his car our truck's not very good on new tires.
Riding along with Mike Skinner here.
Stay low, stay low, stay low.
That is close.
Good job, Mike.
We'll be back with more before 200.
Guy is an idiot.
2005 moments in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Mike Skinner has not visited victory lane in quite a few years. As he comes through 3 and 4, the Toyota Tundra driven by Mike Skinner is going to see the checkered flag and win in Bristol.
2005 moments in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Mike Skinner followed that up with another win the very next week at Richmond, putting his win totals to 18 in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And those 18 wins have given him an opportunity to really hone his driving skills, and he needed them right here.
He did such an incredible job to avoid Justin Hopgood. Justin did a good job keeping up to the wall early, and then you could hear Mike Skinner's spotter in our earlier video tell him to go low, go low, go low. Watch this right here. This is oh so close.
Oh, you know what? I'm in front of you. Stay low, stay low, stay low, stay low.
And he did.
Lower. Whoa, man, that was so close.
Well, that's the remnants of the number 9 truck of Justin Hopgood being pushed back into the garage area.
Justin's pretty fortunate to only have that much damage and 2 close to the calls with an outside wall.
Dennis Setzer and Ted Musgrave continue to battle for our championship.
And they have found each other.
And I think that's a good thing for Ted. He knows where Dennis is. You don't have to wonder about him. That's one less thing to worry about, Darrell.
Yep.
Keep him right there in front of you, and then that way you don't have to worry about what he's doing or if he's having problems.
That's the beauty thing about having a little cushion there for Ted.
Right.
Hey guys, he's still very loose though. We went back and looked at the pit stop they had here, and Jimmy Sprinkle was to put around a wedge into the truck, or excuse me, a track bar adjustment, and they only got about a half of that done. Now here's the thing, Ted says if this thing stays loose like it is, we're going to pull rubber out of the right rear, even though that takes a little longer on a pit stop. He said he just can't understand why this thing's so dramatically loose, and most everybody else I hear on the radio is tight.
Well, play the official fantasy games of Speed Channel, Speed Fantasy Cup Auto Racing 2005. Go to speedtv.com. Register for Speed Homestead One Race Challenge. Select 8 drivers for the Homestead race and a chance to win $10,000. Over $25,000 in cash and prizes for the top 300 winners. Log on to speedtv.com now.
Coming to the green here for a restart. It's been a little exciting on these restarts.
Well, if your truck is loose, like Ted was talking, it's going to be looser on a restart. So you got to battle these things, and that's when all the traffic's around you too, Phil. So your truck's loose, and you got traffic to deal with.
And Michael, I mean, it's pretty warm in this booth. I got to believe it's probably warming up quite a bit outside, which is going to affect the racetrack.
This race was supposed to be run under the lights last night, but because of rain, we were not able to get the green flag to fly, and so we've restarted the race. We started at 0. You see Aaron Crocker on the inside of the track running a little bit low in a battle for the top spot.
Yeah, watch out down here. You got Ron Hornaday looking under Sprague. Sprague looking under Bodine.
Matt Crafton, the 88 up in the high line, side by side with a 38 of Brandon Witt.
Looking's really not a good term. They're kind of feeling each other out right here.
You know, I think this is the most.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! There it goes.
Whoa, going up.
Brandon
there goes
Witt.
Brandon Witt. Out
Where's
sideways.
Ted? Where's Ted and Dennis?
Oh,
there goes. That was the 2. There goes 1 of Ted Musgrave.
No caution. There it comes. There it comes.
you just cannot get underneath somebody, particularly on these early restarts.
That's why I think, Daryl, that's why I think NASCAR is doing such a smart job and working so hard toward taking downforce away from racing vehicles so you can race side by side. He's got all his downforce in the world, drives down underneath the 88. He robs him of his downforce. The thing spins out.
Watch Dennis and Ted come through here side by side. And just a moment, right there, side by side.
But, Michael, I got to tell you, these trucks didn't do that until they took that wicker bill off those rear spoilers. When they took the wicker bill off the top of the rear spoiler, that's when they started getting loose underneath each other.
Wow.
Before they plowed into each other.
Well, the DW Boogity Grill was pretty hot right there as Brandon Witt took it off the track and into the infield after going sideways through 1 and 2. Let's take a closer look at the Premier Division of NASCAR and our Nextel Cup update. Here are the top 10 in points. Tony Stewart just in front of Jimmy Johnson.
Very much the same situation for Tony as for Ted Musgrave. He needs to keep the 48 of Jimmy Johnson somewhere close to him.
Right.
And nobody can forget about that number 99 of Carl Edwards as well. He's still in striking distance as well.
And he's going to be good on in Sunday's race, too.
That pre-race show starts at 11 a.m. NASCAR this morning on Speed. Welcome back to the Ford 200, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Race number 25, race for the championship. Heating up as Dennis Setzer just in front of Ted Musgrave. They're running 13th and 14th right now. And again, if Ted finishes 10th, he will lock up the championship. That would mean that Dennis Setzer would have to win the race and lead every lap. But he's not running 10th right now.
You know, Rick, all these cautions, keeping the field bunched up and restarts. You got transmission things you got to worry about. All kind of. This creates a few extra headaches for you if you're trying to finish the race.
Let's see if we can talk to Ted here. Hey, Ted, Phil up in the booth. Can you hear me?
Yep.
How's that racetrack, Ted? We know there was a lot of diesel fuel residue on there, and your truck seems to be pretty loose. Is it the racetrack just pretty slick?
Yeah, racetrack's really slick or so. It wasn't that way in practice, but it's really slick right now. But we can adjust it. As soon as we make the next stop, I think we'll be in good shape.
All right, you're getting ready for a restart. You've got that 46 right where you need him. You can see him.
That was the plan. Just put them in the windshield here, and then in the end, put them in the mirror, and we'll be good to go.
All right, good luck, Ted. Thanks.
That was your championship leader right there, giving us a report from the cockpit, coming to the green flag with a loose truck. How much could you ask? How much more could you ask for?
And his top competitor just in front of him.
I like his analogy. Got him in my windshield, going to have him in my rearview mirror.
Todd Bodine, the fastest truck on the track so far today, leads the field to the restart.
What an incredible second half of the season Todd Bodine has. Michael, Daryl, Rick, the last 13 races, Todd Bodine has finished in the top 2 8 times.
Just wonder where he would be if he had been in that truck all year long.
Exactly.
I think that's the thing that he's probably kicking himself for.
And the irony, you see the number 60 right behind the number 30. That was the truck that Todd Bodine was in to start this year.
Well, essentially, that team actually disbanded, and Jeff Weiler took up the remnants of that team, Tony Furr being the crew chief and some of the people, and created a new team. So it's not really fair to say that's the exact same truck that Todd started the year in.
Exactly, and of course I got to tell you something. Mike Hillman and his son over there are doing an incredible job. They're a couple of smart cookies. Boy, got trucks high down here in turn 1. Whoa, me! They go in there and just wash right to the top.
Jimmy Spencer, we're looking at a David Starr's truck. Joey Miller just made his way around those two cats, and Joey's moving back toward the front in that Toyota of his.
He looks like he's pretty good, Michael, for a few laps, and then maybe fades a tad.
Did you notice how Jimmy did not drive that truck down in the corner beside David Starr? He eased up a little bit. He didn't want to get in the situation we've seen so many times where the trucks get loose on the inside.
Here goes Jack Sprague on the inside of Todd Bodine. Will he make the pass stick?
I'm going to guess no.
Down the back stretch they go.
Here we go, down turn 1, guys. Around they go.
Got another problem.
Oh,
in turn 1. Oh, the 07 gets into the 35. 07 driven by Chris Wimmer today. 35, Robert Richardson.
Looked like the 07 did a Justin Hopgood spin a little bit, and that cat right there didn't have anywhere to go.
Given a whole new meaning to sucked around, I can tell you that.
Yeah, quite a bit of damage to the 35 of Robert Richardson, making his second ever NASCAR career truck start.
Pretty hard contact over there, particularly when that 35 truck came slamming into the 07 there.
It looked like the 07 might have been on the inside of Robert Presley in the 59, the Duckhead footwear truck, and that may have been the same situation we've seen. There he is on the inside.
They're just all wadded up right here. Get down underneath somebody, you just can't hang on to it.
Looks like something may have broke on that 35. He snapped to the right.
No, he just tried to, he was just saw what was going to happen, probably hit the brakes.
Reacted.
Yeah, overreacted.
And so our 5th caution of the day has come out at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We'll be back to clear things up after this break.
...2005 moments in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Side by side, coming out of turn number 4 on the high side. Bobby Labonte, they hit again. It's Bobby Labonte and Ron Hornaday goes across the start-finish line, just inches in front of Bobby Labonte. Here comes Jack Sprague up high, and here comes Johnny Benson. Benson's going to slide out of 4. Sprague's going to slide out of 4, and Kyle Busch is going to win this race.
2005 moments in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
2 amazing finishes at Atlanta Motor Speedway. This track very similar in configuration to that track.
Where really it is, you can run from the bottom of the racetrack to the top of the racetrack. We've seen that today. We saw it at Atlanta all 3 times we've been there. We could have the very, very similar finish here.
Look how high Todd Bodine's truck is off the ground right there under caution. A couple inches off the ground. But in race trim, look the way that team gets that truck to suck down to the ground. And then adversely, you can see Jack Sprague here in this truck. His doesn't suck all the way down like that. Both trucks are very competitive, running near the front of the pack. But I just believe this has to be a competitive advantage here on Todd Bodine's truck as the race goes on.
And Michael, for the people at home, that's what these teams try to do, is they try to seal the front of these trucks or a Cup car or a Busch car to the ground. And Todd Bodine's team has obviously done a good job of that. I think he's got very big rear springs, very soft front springs to try to get that truck down to the ground on the front.
Safety crews continuing to clean up the racetrack after our most recent caution has come out. When we come back, we'll go back to green flag racing at Homestead-Miami. We'll find out who the champion is today. Green flag just flying. They're all single file going down the back stretch. Todd Bodine still leading the field. Jack Sprague behind him now. Before that last caution, Jack Sprague was on the move trying to get by Todd Bodine.
Look at
that 88. Man, he's coming around the outside of Ron Hornaday.
Man, he was great in practice yesterday, too. Everybody talked about how competitive the 88 was going to be. And darn, he just drove around the outside of Hornaday. Wendy, what are they saying about that truck?
Mikey, picture rolling out of bed, getting into your personal vehicle, and driving at the speeds that these guys do. You do it, but the fans at home aren't used to that. Matt Crafton came over the radio and said, hey guys, I think I'm finally waking up now. I'm pretty sure I'll have a better restart now. So maybe he needed a cup of Joe, or DW, do you sell any of those energy drinks at your store?
Oh, DW store, you get a lot of good Christmas presents, so it's
They're
about
side
that
by
time.
side for third. Ron Hornaday not wanting to give up the spot. Tucking in right behind them, Johnny Benson. And that Aaron's Dream Machine, number 23.
Look at that thing push up the hill.
Yikes, yikes.
Oh, there's Mark trying, that Bill Lester trying to take advantage of, and there goes Mark.
Mark got a great break right there, one he'd been looking for. I think Mark will be good if he can ever get out of traffic.
Comes Kyle Busch. Obviously, the 23 and the 22's momentum was stalled by a little bit of contact there. Kyle Busch going to take advantage and take over both those positions. Mark Martin already did in the previous corner.
You know, I think, you know, Mark Martin is one of those kind of guys. He's not going to force the issue, just like with Joey Miller. But once he gets up there and he sees the leaders, he's going to turn the wick up a little bit.
Look at these different lines. You got Johnny down at the bottom, Joey up top, and Jimmy in the middle. They go everywhere at this racetrack, and that's what you really like to see as a fan. You want to see them have options when they get to the corner.
Bob, what's going on with the 33?
Well, DW hit the nail on the head. Mark Martin just came over the radio and said, hey guys, I think we have a car that can run with the leaders, but this track position is killing me. I got to take advantage of every situation as he ducks under Ron Hornaday going down the front stretch. But Mark Martin, let's just say he's very happy with that truck right now.
And you know, Bob, I think the trucks have changed so much since Mark last drove in this series. He's probably going through a pretty steep learning curve right now, even for Mark Martin.
You know, he came here and tested a month or so ago or 6 weeks ago, but that was running by yourself. when you get these trucks in traffic, watch Mark as he drives down the corner. He doesn't force the issue. He doesn't try to drive right up beside of the 6 of Ron Horner, just like Johnny Benson didn't do that to the 15. The experienced drivers know not to put themselves in a bad situation.
But they also know it's very difficult to pass. So when they see two guys get side by side, they're looking at where they could go to take advantage of that situation. Whether it be up around the top of them or down to the bottom, you got to jump when you see a chance, Phil, because it is so difficult to get by.
One guy taking advantage of chances that come in front of him is Dennis Setzer. He's still moving, and he has moved ahead of Ted Musgrave by 1 spot because Mike Skinner has moved in between Dennis Setzer and Ted Musgrave, as well as Bobby Hamilton. So he's making up ground right now on that championship. It's just 49 points
I think if Ted's truck's loose, this thing having to go green for a long time, he could get in big trouble here.
There's a couple trucks now. The 04 of Bobby Hamilton and the 5 of Mike Skinner have both got by Ted Musgrave. Ray, what's going on with Ted?
Well, he's really just playing it safe right now, guys. Yes, he is still loose, and they want to make another adjustment on this truck. But he called up to his spotter, Eddie Thrapp, and he said, you let those couple of guys know right behind me not to get up on my bumper and suck me around. I can't take a chance of crashing this thing. He said, we'll let a couple of those guys go if they need it, just kind of being conservative.
Battle for the top spot still going on between Todd Bodine and Jack Sprague. This is a battle for the race, the championship, the big picture.
Mark got a great run off of turn 2 that time, looking under Hornaday, but when they get down here to turn 3, Hornaday's got the preferred line. He'll carry a little more speed in there. Mark stuck on the bottom.
Mark's used to that type of treatment. He spent 20 laps underneath Joey Miller like that earlier in the race. So Mark's thinking, man, these truck people don't get out of my way like they're supposed to.
I wonder if he's going to tell his spotter, I want to see Ron Hornaday when this race is over with.
I want to teach him something.
Yeah, I want to tell him something.
It's been 9 years since Mark Martin has run a truck race. The last time he was in a truck, he won that race. So a lot of changes have taken place since he's running this truck
yeah,
series.
The aero package is so different, the horsepower, a lot of difference.
Coming up on the halfway point of this race, Todd Bodine and Jack Sprague have separated themselves from the rest of the field. Todd Bodine looking for another win to make it 3 in a row in the Truck Series. Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed Channel is brought to you by High Endurance Oils from Mobil, official lubricants of NASCAR. We've remained green. Todd Bodine holding off Jack Sprague for the top spot.
Got a great battle for 4th. Mark Martin, the 33, and Matt Crafton, the 88, were side by side a moment ago. Johnny in the Aaron's number 23 thought about making it 3 wide. Johnny Benson didn't quite do it. Now they're single file.
Look at Johnny's hood bounce up and down on the Aaron's Dream truck.
So much turbulent air off the back of that truck in front of him.
Yeah, that's what
Mark Martin's truck.
That's what Michael was talking about, this about the big hole they punch in the air. A lot of turbulence around these things. That's why they get sideways the way they do when they're up under each other.
Check out these cats. There's Setzer. He's losing ground, Darrell.
Yep, here comes Ted Musgrave. Or no, that's David Starr in the 75 going by the 46 of Dennis Setzer.
He had just lost a spot to Mike Skinner the lap prior to that. Wendy, are they saying anything about that truck in the pit?
Dennis Setzer is reporting that he does not have as much grip when the race started. Now, the sun is pretty much behind the clouds, but we are starting to lose grip on this track. He's been laid over on the right front side, and it's been snapping loose around the exit. Dennis Setzer not too happy with this truck right now.
Man, he's got his hands full, laying over, snapping loose.
Yeah, I didn't like the way all that sounded.
There's Ted Musgrave, our championship leader right there, currently in the 16th position. Again, he can still see Dennis Setzer, his closest pursuer. He's exactly where he wants to be.
These guys, I tell you, when they get side by side, Michael, they just, you don't know what's going to happen. Watch what over off turn 2 over here.
These guys are racing pretty hard. Watch Scott Lynch. He tries to, God, look at that.
He just squeezes him right up against the fence.
That's not very nice.
And remember,
it's a good way to pass.
He laid over on him and it snapped loose.
Yep. These trucks are driving around here averaging over 180 miles an hour.
There's Terry Cook's Power Stroke Diesel. Ford, number 10. He's currently in the 21st position. That's Timothy Peters, the Bailey's Dodge, number 4, right in front of him.
These guys battling here for 3rd. They can't make up their mind where they want to be.
Well, Mark Martin wants to be in 3rd.
And look at Johnny. He's wanting to help him. I'll give you a push. I'll give you a push, Mark. Go get the 88.
Todd Cleaver, the 50 truck, going to join that battle. What an impressive rookie season he has had for Jack Roush.
Johnny Benson just inside that, and it looks as though the 50 is going to take a look at the inside of Johnny Benson. What's going on with him, Bob?
Johnny Benson's got some giddy up and go, although he's got a truck inside of him right now. But Johnny said, you know what? That wedge adjustment you made on the truck, perfect. It went from loose to just shoving the nose just a little bit, but he likes the feel of that 23 truck right now, Ray.
Well, hey, Bob, last night we talked to Todd Cleaver, and of course he said the only thing that would make him happy today is a win in this race, because this is his final truck race. Next year he will be in the NASCAR Busch Series. But we also talked to his truck owner, Jack Roush, and Roush said last night that they would field 3 competitive trucks next year. I talked to everybody on this team today, and they said, we think Jack wasn't paying attention because we only plan to have 2 trucks on the racetrack in 06.
46 and the 1 have got pretty close to each other. Ted Musgrave now has a windshield full of the number 46.
A lot of times when you complain about a loose truck, it's loose for 10 or 15 laps after a restart. You can weather that storm, then your truck will start to perform. Ted Musgrave has driven around 2 or 3 trucks and right up to the back bumper of Dennis Setzer.
They were side by side a moment ago.
They're getting ready to be side by side again, Phil. Here comes Ted to the inside.
He's not going to take any chances. He would love to see that 46 truck in his mirror. Again, Gene Need, crew chief, told him if the 46 turns out the tunnel, follow him.
They'll wind up down at Key Largo. Or
Dennis
Montego.
Setzer was 58 points behind Musgrave coming into this race. Right now the points 55.
Look at that.
Separating the 2 is Musgrave just behind Setzer.
He's going to look to the inside. Now what happened to following him? We don't want to do that anymore?
Well, if you can look at him in your mirror, that's probably would be even better than following him.
This is the intimidation.
I was going to say, is this a mental thing where Ted Musgrave just peeked in there and went, hey, Dennis, look where I'm running?
He's just worrying him to death right now.
And let me look right behind Ted. You've got Scott Lynch there. He's having his career day. This is the fastest his truck's been since he's been in it. He's driving right up on the back of the point leaders. Let's just hope Scott isn't too anxious about his truck. We saw what he did to Timothy Peters over there. Make sure he understands he's racing with the point leaders. Ted just lays over, understanding maybe the exuberance that Lynch has, and gives him a break.
And since Ted Musgrave came and checked on the inside of Dennis Setzer, Musgrave just lost 2 spots as he backed up with Scott Lynch and the 16 of Mike Bliss.
He's just chilling.
Yeah, he couldn't quite make the pass on the 46 of Dennis Setzer. He would have liked to have made that pass, but when he saw Scott Lynch, the 62, and then Mike Bliss, the 16, come, he said, I want no part of this. Let me let them by, and I'll deal with Dennis later.
He's fallen quite a ways back, though.
And let's watch Lynch here. He's going to get on the inside of Setzer. Setzer needs to realize that he's there, and does.
Gives him plenty of room down at the bottom of the racetrack.
Todd Bodine still holding on to the top spot. He's put a little distance between himself and Jack Sprague.
Well, that arrow observation that Michael made earlier, where Todd's truck is much lower in the front than the 60 truck of Jack Sprague, this is when it pays off. You're not abusing the front tires as much, and that thing is sealed off and you're getting front grip. Nose up in the air a little bit, you're going to have to put a little more wheel in it to make it turn. Tires are going to go away. This cat's going to drive off and leave you.
And he's doing just that right now as he's put almost 2.5 seconds between himself and Jack Sprague. Ron Hornaday, Mark Martin, and Johnny Benson round out our top 5. Todd Bodine, our leader, has caught up with slower lap traffic as he is about to put the 14 of Rick Crawford a lap down.
That'll leave us 26 trucks on the lead lap. Todd's cutting through them right now under this long green flag run.
Todd Bodine out in front. Let's do a top 10 drop back, starting with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, Todd Bodine, as you have mentioned, 3rd in points, but today they want to make a statement that this is going to be the truck to beat in 2006. I want to tell you guys, they have a big right rear spring in that truck. You talked about it earlier. I'm not going to give you the number, but it may be the biggest in the field. Wendy?
Jack Sprague has 1 win this season, but it came in a Chevrolet with Express Motorsports. Of course, he's in a Toyota now. As he battles for that top spot with Todd Bodine, he said, I'll get him. I've got to win this race. Jack Sprague is desperate for a win for Toyota. Bob?
14 winners in the Craftsman Truck Series this year. If Johnny Benson wins here today, it'll make 15, and that will be a record. And you know what? He thinks he can get the job done here today. Just behind him on the racetrack, Johnny Benson just a few short laps ago passed Mark Martin. Mark feels like he's got a truck to win here today as well. In fact, he just said, hey, I'm just going to be patient, waiting for another caution. Wendy?
Ron Hornaday is a former winner here at Homestead back in 2002. He's having a good day today, but his truck, it has been tight everywhere. He's trying to take care of his left front tire right now. Ray?
Wendy, for Todd Cleaver, they tested here, and he was very happy with his truck, but he's still loose today. They're going to try to make another adjustment. We expect to see pit stops here in the next 10 laps. Wendy?
Matt Crafton came over the radio and said, I'm comfortable with going down on air pressure. And they came back and told him a half pound. He said, no, I ain't scared. Put a whole pound down on the air pressure. And they're expecting to pit around lap 94, Ray?
Wendy, big question about what Bill Lester will be doing next year. I've heard some talk that they may not have this exact same program back at Bill Davis Racing next year. Lester was going through the garage area yesterday, talking to a number of different truck owners to see what his future will hold. As far as Mike Skinner, he's been good at this racetrack. Led 74 laps the first time he came here, then 33. But here's the problem. He had a pit road penalty on that first pit stop. He was running fourth. A tire got away from the team, and he restarted 32nd. So Skinner has really run back through the field. Bob?
Kyle Busch rounds out the top 10, and you know what? Kyle Busch has run a lot of Truck Series races this year, but next year, not much in the cards. He says maybe only one Truck Series race because he's going full-time Busch Series racing as well as his Cup schedule. Right now, that truck shoving the nose here at Homestead as Joey Miller goes after him, DW.
Green flag pit stops will be coming up shortly. We just heard possibly coming up at lap 94. That's 4 laps away. When we come back, we will see those green flag stops.
Welcome back to Homestead-Miami and the Ford 200. The leader of the race, Todd Bodine, has brought his Germain Toyota to pit road. Why would they pit this early? Well, they said, once we're inside our window, let's get our gas and go. We're going to run away from the field. They go to work. They get 4 tires on it. No adjustments for Bodine. Wendy?
X-Brake also on pit road, 4 tires. A slight adjustment for his truck to be freer and a little bit slower than Todd Bodine's spot. He'll lose some positions on the track.
Whoa.
So 1 and 2.
This is tense right here, Rick.
Came down pit road.
This is a critical point in the race right here, guys.
Bob, what's going on with Johnny?
Well, Johnny Benson went through the grass on his way to pit road. You can see some of the grass in his left front tire, but it'll be 4 tires, a track bar adjustment, and an air pressure change as well.
And that is exactly, if the caution comes out, which it has not yet.
It's got to come out.
But there was a problem.
He's got to the bottom. It's Bobby Hamilton on the back stretch.
He blew it right front, Michael.
Mark Martin making his way on pit road. Look at how much damage to the right side of that 04 truck.
He knocked the wall down over there off 2.
Guys, we're staying green.
No caution.
The caution has not come out. Mark Martin on pit road. Bob.
Mark Martin very happy with his truck right now. In fact, guys, got to consider this. This is one thing that Pat Tricin and the boys are thinking about right now. Maybe a one-stop race.
These guys are still at it, Phil. And you know what's going to happen here, Darrell? These two haven't pitted yet. Whoever makes the move to pit road first, that's Setzer. He will stand a better chance of not getting lapped. He's coming to pit road right now. The leaders are on new tires. They're running faster times. If one of these cats get lapped and the other one doesn't, wow, that could have big championship implications.
What was big is no caution with that 04 hitting the wall over off turn 2. I mean, that would have really changed this race because you had their 2 fastest trucks in the pits.
Todd Bodine and Jack Sprague had already come down pit road. Let's see how Dennis Setzer does. Wendy.
Dennis Setzer has a long way before he gets to his pit stall. Also on pit road just this last lap was Ron Hornaday and Matt Crafton, who his crew goes to work right now. Dennis Setzer has had an awful time with his truck on this green flag run. Major adjustments on his truck. 4 tires, and also Matt Crafton is down and away.
Boy, Ted's got to be extra careful. He's coming on pit road. Here's your Dennis Setzer in the pits, and here comes the 1 truck on pit road.
You sure don't want a speeding penalty under green.
Got to be, got to be overly cautious.
Right.
Well, and these guys are going to pull rubber out of the right rear to get Musgrave's truck a little bit better. Cesar Villanueva changes the front tires. Kyle Lewis on the rear. Dan Sislinski is the jackman. Jimmy Sprinkle puts the gas in. They've got plenty of gas there. 1 tire did get away, but it's on this side of the pit road, so that'll be okay. They were hung up on that left rear for a little bit longer just so they could get that rubber out. Everything fairly routine here. All the lug nuts are on, and Musgrave goes back to the racetrack.
I'm afraid Musgrave's going to find himself a lap down, Darrell. In fact, I know he is.
Wendy? There goes Todd.
David Starr came to a stop on an angle. He had a hard time getting in with Deborah Renshaw pitted right behind him. They are going to make a slight adjustment. His truck has been too loose all day long.
Here comes leader Joey Miller down pit road, the rookie, and only his 5th truck start. Right now, this truck is shoving the nose big time. A lot of people on the radio talking about Joey Miller fighting him tooth and nail, but Joey Miller knows one thing, to put it down to the floor and go to the front. A good pit stop for these boys, just a slight chassis adjustment.
Mike Bliss in the number 16 leading the field right now, but obviously Mike Bliss, Terry Cook, Brendan Gaughan, Brandon Witt, Robert Presley, they all need to come in for a stop. They cannot make it to the end of this race. We'll see how it goes in the Ford 200 when we come back.
2005 moments in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Across the start-finish line, Kyle Busch will win. Ron Hornaday will try to hold up, and Hornaday has problems in the smoke. He gets spun around. The 38 comes by him, and it'll be Brandon Witt taking the checkered flag. The NTN bearings of David Rudiman will see the checkered flag for the first time in his career.
2005 moments in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Young guns making a name for themselves this year. Mike Bliss leading the final race of the season. Mike's still going to have to come down pit road for a stop, and they're expecting that to happen within the next 3 or 4 laps. Kyle Busch with 3 wins on the season, the number 15. Brandon Witt got his win at Memphis, the number 38. Wendy.
Brandon Witt has been tight pretty much all this race, except when trucks get next to him, he gets real loose. They are making a slight adjustment on his truck. Also coming down pit road next will be Mike Bliss. We should expect him to come down pit road shortly.
We're hearing now that Mike Bliss is going to make his way on the access road.
Got a transmission or a clutch problem there with that truck, I think. Did you hear him asking what gear is he in? They're trying to figure out how to get him off pit road.
Pretty slow going. Here comes our leader, Mike Bliss, onto pit road. He pitted on the caution after a lot of these other fellas did. That's why he was able to go a lot farther.
There's still some cats that haven't pitted, Phil, that have some good trucks a lap down right now. But fortunately for Ted Musgrave, he and Dennis Setz are on the same page.
Wendy.
A little bit of strategy for the 16 team. They are off on pit sequence before now. His fastest lap was that last lap before they pitted on this set of tires. They are planning on just a 2-tire stop on the 16 truck. He is down, no adjustment.
Mike Bliss coming off of pit road, and actually Brendan Gaughan went across the start-finish line about 5 feet before Mike Bliss went across the start-finish line on pit road. And so Brendan Gaughan is being shown as our leader at Homestead-Miami, and that Jasper Engines and Transmissions number 77. When we come back, all the pit stops will shake out. We'll find out who will win this one. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed Channel is brought to you by Ford F-150, built Ford tough. By Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. By Just for Men Hair Color, targets only the gray for a natural look. By High Endurance Oils from Mobil, official lubricants of NASCAR. Brendan Gaughan still holding on to the top spot, but he has to come in for a stop, otherwise he's going to run out of fuel. Bob?
And they know that down here in the Orleans pit. Brendan Gaughan leading this race, and Tony Liberati just told me they are praying, hoping for a caution here to catch a break so that they will come down pit road during caution. But if they do come down under green, maybe just a splash and go.
Brendan Gaughan's woes this season started in Daytona. He was one of the first trucks out of the race after being involved in an accident, and now trying to have a shining moment at the end of the season and see if he can get that momentum going for the 2006 season.
He's got a good strategy right now, as Bob mentioned. If he can just catch a caution flag, he'll be right in this thing.
Todd Bodine in the number 30 is running second, but again, when Brendan Gaughan comes down pit road, he will take over the top spot. Jack Sprague is closing on Todd Bodine. They're separated by about 1 second right now.
Todd's got the fastest truck though, Rick. If he can just work traffic, he got held up by Jimmy Spencer there for a long while.
Well, I think Todd knows also, like we saw last long run they had, that he seems to get better as he goes along, where Jack Sprague seems to fall off a tad.
Now the separation between second and third, which will be Jack Sprague and Johnny Benson, is about 10 seconds. And so it really has become a 2-truck race unless a caution would come out.
Got a great battle right here. There's a 12 of Joey Miller on the inside, his Toyota. Battling another Toyota, the 5 of Mike Skinner on the outside. Brendan Gaughan is in the pits, Bob.
Yeah, Brendan Gaughan went through the grass just a little bit. He's got some grass on his wheels, but as I said, flash and go. A little strategy. What do you think about that, boys?
Bobby's just trying to stay on the lead lap. He knew he could not afford to spend enough time on pit road to get tires. He's just trying to stay on the lead lap and then hopefully capture caution.
That 12 truck just got off turn 4. He got a little...
He got into the wall a little bit, actually. You see that.
I think he got into it pretty hard.
I don't think it was that bad.
I know the rubber, the Goodyear is all off his tires.
I told you that traffic was working old Todd over. Here comes Jack all up the middle of it.
Now Todd Bodine is the leader of the race as Brendan Gaughan had come down pit road. So Todd Bodine takes over the top spot. Sprague running in second, and he lost a little ground there because he was caught up behind the number 10 of Terry Cook.
We caught a glimpse of Brendan getting lapped there. He did not quite get out in time to stay on the lead lap.
See what happened to Joey Miller off turn 4 here, Michael, in the 12 truck. He got a little high. He's racing with Skinner. Probably loses a little air off his nose, and that's a pretty good little rub right there.
Yeah.
Flat the side of the number 12 Toyota Tundra. Todd Bodine looking to make it 3 in a row in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And if you're talking about momentum, he would have a lot of momentum going into next season. Todd Bodine in front of Jack Sprague.
Here comes Musgrave looking to the inside.
I kept saying, you know, Ted, we need a contract. He said, oh, my word's good. I said, really would like to have a contract. He finally took a napkin and wrote, I, Ted Musgrave, will drive for Jim Smith the rest of my life, and signed it and stuffed it in my pocket. He says, now are you happy? You have a contract.
Jim Smith needs to grab that napkin that he has with Ted Musgrave's number on it. Oh, and we've got problems in the 08. That brings out our 6th caution of the day.
And that's going to create another restart, which is the most vulnerable time for Ted Musgrave.
Oh, yeah. And it's also going to create a lot of decision making along pit road. Do we get tires? They've been out there a long time. I say there's not that many trucks on the lead lap. I say a bunch of these guys take advantage of it and make a pit stop right here.
You got to come to pit road. We've seen these things slow down all day long on these long runs, and they've been on a pretty good run here.
And the benefit of coming down pit road now would be that we will restart in single file. That means lap trucks will not be in their way.
You see the 08 on the inside of Brendan Gaughan, the 77. We've seen it so many times. He gets a little bit loose, wiggles, loses control. Gonna make some. I think he stays out of the outside wall.
Wow.
Did a pretty good job, really, of saving that truck once he got sideways. The damage came from driving off the bank of the racetrack onto the apron with a left front corner.
Until you get under somebody and you got to put a little extra wheel in it to stay off of them, that front end gets a little grip and the back end snaps out.
We've completed 123 laps. This one's scheduled to go 134 laps, meaning when we restart this race, it will be inside of 10 laps. So this right here is the important time as they go down the backstretch. Make the decision. Do you come in for tires or not?
Spencer doesn't pit. We stay out.
I think the first 5 guys stay out. Everybody else pits.
That was Gene Need we just heard, and he was telling Ted Musgrave if Setzer stays out, we stay out. They're going to do exactly what the 46 does.
Well, they stayed out.
Slide, like I say, I don't know what we're missing here, but we're just sliding. We can't get any grip front or rear. It's all good, bud. We're doing what we need to do.
Ted Musgrave still thinking about winning the race, and the powers that be above him, his crew chief and owner, are saying, don't worry about the race. We're doing what we need to do to win the championship.
Some of the leaders all stayed out.
Everybody's staying out.
Yeah, some of the tail end of the lead lap trucks are going to make their way on pit road. I say it looks like maybe Todd Cleaver, Ron Hornaday's coming in.
Todd Cleaver was 6. The first 5 guys stayed out. I finally got one right. Took to the last race all year.
Back to Joey Miller, who was 12th, last truck on the lead lap, and he's in the pit as well.
When we come back, we will see the finale at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Ted Musgrave, Dennis Setzer batting for a championship. It looks like Ted may get it today. Welcome back to Homestead-Miami Speedway. Dennis Setzer, Ted Musgrave were a lap down, and so the lap down trucks came in after our lead lap trucks. They both came down pit road. Setzer gets out a couple trucks in front of Ted Musgrave. Now, this adds another variable to a championship race.
Yeah, it's a single file restart. I like that if I'm Musgrave. It cuts down the chances of somebody getting into one another and causing a wreck. So he likes where he's sitting right now, I think. Pretty confident. He's got Setzer right in his windshield. He knows where he's at.
Plus, Michael, you don't want to take a chance of riding around here under a caution, get a tire, get a slow leak in a tire, have to pit on the green.
Well, plus, if you're Musgrave, you want to stay on Setzer's agenda. When Setzer come to pit road, you wanted to come to pit road too, just like he did.
Well, here we go.
On lap 126, the green flag comes out. It's Todd Bodine and Jack Sprague looking to battle for the win in Homestead-Miami, but it is Ted Musgrave and Dennis Setzer looking for the 2005 championship.
Now, you can bet one thing, that 46 is going to be on it. He's going to try to put as many trucks between he and Ted Musgrave as he can. There's one spinner right in front of Ted
Musgrave.
Devil Renshaw gets spun around in front of Ted Musgrave.
Good job.
Oh, boy.
Man.
The blood pressure just went up on Ted Musgrave and Jim Smith and his crew chief, Gene Meade.
I told you we shouldn't have pitted.
Wow.
Walking on eggshells right now.
Right there.
There are still enough trucks, Phil, one lap down to put 10 or 12 people between those two race trucks.
But that's not going to be enough.
It's not enough. There's only 4
They're going to have some of the trucks right now on the lead lap get between them for Dennis Setzer to be able to win this championship.
Wow.
Whoa. Good job by Chase Montgomery in the 18 to avoid that.
Look at Ted just waiting, watching.
On the brakes. So which way is she going to go?
And Ted, when he gets on the brakes, he's got to watch out for people behind him, too.
Yeah, he had a good little gap between he and the guys behind him. That was one good thing.
Whoa.
Man, you just don't want to have to deal with that.
Your heart just jumps up in your throat.
Oh, man.
Now, Dennis Setzer, things would have to work out perfectly for Dennis Setzer. He would have to be, well, he would have to actually pass David Starr, which is not possible because he won't get the free pass.
Or somebody else just have to spin out in front of him and wreck him.
Good job.
There's
wow.
Jim Smith jumps up, looks over there.
What happened?
I don't believe the TV screen. I want to look over and make sure Ted got by that accident.
I'm sure very clear in his mind is 2003 when they thought they had won the championship right here on this very track, and it was all for naught. Ray.
Guys, I think the key to the fact that Musgrave had that maneuverability there was the fact that he laid back big time on that restart. There was about 15 or 18 truck lengths in front of him as we went back to green there. They've got their eye in front, said, hey, just keep a big, wide open space in front of that Mopar Dodge, and we'll be okay. It worked out for him that time. His spotter, Eddie Thrapp, said, go high, go low, go high, go low. Ted goes, I think I got it under control. They got plenty of room, and you watch on these next couple restarts, it'll be more of the same.
Ted has driven a smart race and really a pretty ill-handling truck from his own mouth. He said his truck is so loose right now, and he doesn't really know why, but he's done a heads-up job. He's not gotten into any compromising positions. Used some good strategy. They just watched what the 46 did and tried to stay right with him.
Probably, having a truck that's a little bit loose, Phil, made him be a little more cautious, kept him out of trouble as much as anything.
He's sitting in an awfully good position right now because there are not enough trucks other than the trucks on the lead lap that could lose the championship for Ted Musgrave. Ted Musgrave could fall out of the race right now, but Dennis Setzer would still have to get by a lot of the trucks that are on the lead lap in order to win this championship. So barring a major catastrophe, Ted Musgrave has this championship.
A major catastrophe like we just almost saw.
Well,
that was almost a major catastrophe.
But he could fall out of the race. As long as Dennis Setzer doesn't get past several of those trucks on the lead lap, he's still going to win the championship.
I keep thinking back to this joint right here, and Bill Elliott leading the race here.
On the last lap.
On the last lap, cuts a tire down off turn 2. Had it won.
Now, all that being said, we're gonna have a great battle for the win of the race.
Todd Bodine just in front of Jack Sprague. The green flag will come out one more time. 129 laps in the book. We're on lap 130. 5 laps to go.
Got Johnny Benson, the 23 truck has moved into 3rd. That's Mark Martin to 33 and 4th. Johnny's going to join this battle.
Johnny got a great run off of 2 over there.
Johnny Benson running very strong in third. Bob.
Having some trouble with that car, though. He's a little bit aerotight as he looks underneath Jack Sprague, but just can't do it. When he went in the grass, he bent that front nose. Wendy?
Jack Sprague running in second is having a little bit of trouble on the restarts. He has vapor lock, and he says it takes 1 or 2 laps to get started. That's why you saw him fall back from Todd Bodine on that restart.
3 trucks separating themselves. Todd Bodine, Jack Sprague, Johnny Benson. Benson, the only one in the top 3 that hasn't won this season. If he would win, it would be our 15th different winner of the 2005 season.
He's trying to make dreams come true.
Man, look at that behind him. Oh, my gosh.
What a wide.
3 wide.
3 wide off of turn 4.
Because all these trucks right here have fresh tires. They pitted on the caution flag. Joey Miller running that high line again. He's going to block Matt Crafton, who had a little bit of momentum.
Well,
wow.
Joey's truck has got damage on it from when he got into the wall. They put 2 tires on it. They probably should have put 4.
Ron Hornaday had a mirror full of Mike Skinner as they came off of turn 2. Now they work their way through 3 and 4.
Wow, these guys are battling.
Skinner getting very, very loose in the middle of 3 trucks. 75 David Starr on the inside, the 88 of Matt Crafton on the outside.
Inside of 2 laps of racing, Todd Bodine has put 3 truck links between himself and Jack Sprague. But here comes Johnny Benson on the inside of Sprague, trying to take second away.
Let's see if he can drive it down in the corner here. So many trucks have got loose right here. Johnny has to back out early.
And that is what Todd Bodine wanted to see. He's driving away from him because these guys are battling for second. Johnny's got up underneath Sprague but can't complete the pass.
White flag flies. 1.5 miles to go for Todd Bodine, looking to win his 3rd Truck Series race in a row. The separation between Bodine and Jack Sprague.
Oh, there they go off turn 2.
We've got a problem down the backstretch. Joey Miller, David Starr. The caution is going to come out. It will be official. Todd Bodine in front of Jack Sprague.
There goes Dennis Setzer and Ted Musgrave right there.
As he comes across the start-finish line, Todd Bodine wins the Ford 200 at Homestead-Miami. And with that, Ted Musgrave is the 2005 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion.
It's official this time.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to have a recount. No hanging chads here.
What a sigh of relief. The Ultra Motorsports team must be breathing right now, especially Jim Smith. Here's a gentleman who pioneered this very sport, truck racing and NASCAR. And Jim Smith gets his first championship in this series. Ray?
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, 2 years ago, you thought you had one. You said it was a great day, and they kind of took it away from you. But I'll guarantee you something. Today, it's yours.
Well, I'm still holding my breath until I get that trophy, but what can I say? Cody, Melissa, it's a great day.
It's been a long road, hasn't it?
It sure has, and it was an ugly, ugly race for us. But, you know, we did what we had to do. We just kept that 46 with us all day.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Jim Smith is a champion in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Couldn't happen to a more deserving guy. As Ray mentioned, one of the founders of this series had an idea 13, 14 years ago about NASCAR racing trucks, and here we are today.
It's been a long time. Jim Smith congratulating his team. Todd Bodine celebrating 3 wins in a row, and this being his 5th win of 2005. Catches the checkered flag.
He saw a lot of practice doing that. He missed it a couple races ago, but he caught it last week and he caught it this week.
Todd Bodine will celebrate the win. Ted Musgrave will celebrate the championship.
See Gene Need reaching in there to congratulate Ted Musgrave. There's Jim Smith. What a great job this team has done this year. They may have only won 1 race, but they were very competitive week in, week out. And this team has won a lot of races over the years. Nothing to be ashamed of here. Great championship.
That right there is a half ton. That's the way we used to do it right there, boys. Just pile on. We're going to go for a little ride.
Championship team.
Yeah.
we actually are able to ride along with the championship team.
Well, it seemed like a good idea.
Oh, it looked cool.
That's a good idea for a minute. Jim says, I ain't getting off.
This is my truck. I just won the championship. I'm riding right here.
I'm right here, boys. Uh-oh.
Get the rest of them off.
Ted Musgrave will now make his way to the championship victory lane as Todd Bodine makes his way to the race victory lane. It's been a long time for Ted Musgrave as well in the NASCAR world.
Just think about it. He's the oldest champion at 49. And guess what, guys? Finally, the #1 has won a championship in NASCAR.
First time ever.
First time ever.
Bob Dillner with our series runner-up.
You could see the agony of defeat written all over Dennis Setzer's face as he shook his head as he got out of his race car. Dennis, second in points for the 3rd straight year.
Yeah, tough deal for us, Congratulations to Ted and those guys, but I applaud this $1 million motorsports team. Silverado and Chevrolet get us back in position to battle for the championship one more year, and unfortunately we didn't get it done. But we're just also lucky to get to do what we love to do. There's a lot of guys out here at these short tracks and give the right arm to be right here today. So I'm just proud of these team, for sticking through it. Appreciate the opportunity to be here.
I know you're happy to be here, but Dennis, I'm sure a lot of disappointment for you and the team right now.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of disappointment. There's so much effort goes into a championship run like this. These guys all work so hard, and so much effort from all the engineers from Chevrolet and stuff, the engineering they put behind us. When it doesn't pay off, it's unfortunate, but it's been a good year for Chevrolet. They've won the Manufacturers Championship, won a lot of races. We won 4 races with our Silverado, and it's a good year. Ted and those guys got really consistent here at the end of the year, and we faltered a little bit on our Speedway program. That's what got us to the top in the middle part of the year, and somehow we lost a little something there after IRP, went back to the Speedways, and IRP, we just turned around and couldn't get back to where we was right there on the Speedways after that. I don't know what happened, but it was a good year for us either way.
We'll see you next year, Dennis. Wendy, for the 3rd straight year, Dennis Setzer is the bridesmaid.
Todd Bodine, 3 wins in a row. They were not kidding when they said last weekend in Phoenix they were making it 3 in a row here in Homestead in the season finale. His 5th win of 2005, which sets a record for the most wins by a driver this season. The Onion holds the checkered flag and enjoying this fabulous moment in victory lane. Todd, 3 in a row, man. Did you ever think it was going to happen?
No, I didn't. That's so hard to do in a series. The competition is so steep. Guys like Sprague and Hornaday, and it just goes on. And I am so proud of this team. And Jermaine's, Bob Sr., I wish you were here, man. Ashlyn, I love you. But we just got it going on. I don't know what it is, but if we could bottle it, we'd make millions.
With only a partial season, you look at Ted Musgrave, our champion, with 1 win this season. You have 5, and you finish only 70 points behind him. You've got to be proud of that.
Holy cow! Yeah, that's quite an accomplishment. We were 15th after we got going with this team. To come back and be 3rd, that close, it just tells you how good these guys are. I said it last week. I'll say it again. I'm just a lucky guy that gets to drive it.
He sure is. Congratulations to you, Mike Hillman, and the whole 30 team. Rick?
Well, Todd Bodine should be proud of the fact that he outscored Ted Musgrave by 200 points since rejoining this number 30 team. But it was all for naught as Ted Musgrave grabs the top trophy in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, winning in 2005 for Ultra Motorsports, their first ever championship in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is presented by Craftsman. The Ultra Motorsports team with Ted Musgrave and owner Jim Smith have now made it to the championship stage. And let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. 34 years ago in 7 months, Ted Musgrave got behind the wheel for the very first time at Waukegan, Illinois. And today, he will climb out of his Mopar Dodge. And finally, after all that time of trying, he is a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion. He's going to the top. 3 years in a row, this man has finished third in the points. It has been a long battle. Congratulations, you did what you had to do today, and it all paid off.
Yeah, actually, you know, we keep saying we're going to run hard, but all I wanted to do was just fill Dennis's mirror for the past couple of weeks, and you know, we just kind of just rode around back there. We had a really good truck, but in practice we just needed to keep him in sight. I know if I was up near the top 5 or top 8, you see what happened on the backstretch. I knew that could be happening, so I wasn't going to let this one get away no matter what.
A couple of close calls there, and I think the fact that you were laying back a little bit gave you the room to have the cushion you needed.
Exactly. Sometimes it could be brave and try to go out for it and get caught up in a wreck like that. So you take your lumps. You know, you say, okay, you didn't win, you didn't run in top 10, but I had something else in mind. Like I say, the big picture, and all I want to do today is, like I said, put the frame around that picture, and that's what we did.
Jim Smith told me he's going to have a great big party. How will Ted Musgrave finally celebrate a championship?
Get on my motorcycle, right back to my house in Daytona, and sit around for a while, have Thanksgiving. Let these guys party. I'm not a drinker or partier. They deserve it. I'm just going to get back and get ready for next year.
All right, congratulations. That is Ted Musgrave, and he is a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion.
Ted Musgrave will make his way up to the stage and join NASCAR's president, Mike Helton, congratulating Jim Smith now. Today's Mobil 1 move of the race is brought to you by High Endurance Oils from Mobil, the official motor oil of NASCAR. And this is the move of the race as Ted Musgrave avoids a problem that happens just in front of him.
Slipping to the inside of the racetrack. They're crashing everywhere, and he and Dennis both right there together. And that's what he said. That's what we said when the race started. If they keep their eyeball on one another, Ted can't lose.
Ted Musgrave avoids problems today, and because of that, he will receive the trophy. That's coming up next. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. First championship has been settled on championship weekend in Miami. We go back down to the stage and Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. All the hard work is done right now, and now we get to have a little bit of fun. And for that, I would like to introduce the president of NASCAR. Here's Mr. Mike Helton.
Thank you, Ray. On behalf of all of NASCAR, Jimmy, I couldn't imagine a better set of champions this year than you and Ted Musgrave. As Craftsman all year long has been talking about 10 tough years. They don't know what it meant, does it?
No, they sure don't, Mike. It's anybody that's racing out here today knows how tough this series is. And I'm so proud to see what I saw today in the race we had. And to give Ted his first major championship means so much to me and everybody at Ultra Motorsports.
Thank you, Jimmy, and Ted, congratulations. We're looking forward to having you serve as our champion. And the whole #1 Dodge Jimmy Smith team, congratulations to all of you.
Thank you very much, Mike. I want to move over here for the trophy presentation. This is Mr. Scott Howard. He is the manager of sponsorship and sales promotion from Sears.
Ted, there's a reason why your truck is #1. On behalf of the thousands of people across America who make and sell Craftsman tools, congratulations on your first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series championship.
Thank you very much. Like I say, it's been a long, long time, and to do this for Jimmy Smith and all these guys up here on the stage, you know, it takes everybody. You know, we're holding the trophy, but if it wasn't for these guys, you know, I'd probably be flipping hamburgers somewhere. So my hat's off to everybody. They work so hard, and everybody in the series that races so well. It's a fun series to run in, and everybody comes in, just loves this deal, and it's going to grow by leaps and bounds here.
A couple of years ago, when you lost this title in 2003, you said no more Mr. Nice Guy. It was going to be a new Ted Musgrave. I think you were just kidding us that day.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you just got to pull the wool over their eyes a little bit, much like we did for the last couple of weeks. We had a better truck, like I say, but I just had to stay around Dennis and kind of rattle some cages and stuff like that. But the older you get, the smarter you get, I think. So, as a matter of fact, I think I'm the oldest champion, though, ain't I? Oh, my gosh. But I'm going to come back next year and try and make it older yet.
All right, we look forward to that. His wife, Debbie, is here on the stage with him. His crew chief, Gene Need, spotter Eddie Threpp. The whole crew is here to celebrate with Ted Musgrave and a great day at Homestead.
Scott Howard made the comment, and we see actually Dennis Setzer there, second in the points, congratulating that team. But Scott Howard really emphasized the word first when he introduced Ted Musgrave as far as our champion, this being his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series championship, and we expect big things out of Ted Musgrave even in next year. The Toyota Spotlight lets us take a closer look at where today's field of Toyota Tundras finished. And obviously out in front, Todd Bodine with another strong run.
Toyota had a great run. Top 3 finishes, 4 of the top 5. Bill Luster getting another top 5. Great run for him.
Let's go down to Bob Dillner.
Jack Sprague, the second best Toyota in the field here today, and he knows that feeling here at Homestead because your third second place finish here at this Florida Oval.
I don't have a clue what you just said, but it was a good run. I mean, I'm really trying hard to smile. I wanted that race so bad, and I knew on the short runs I had them, but I also knew that going underneath them for the win wasn't going to work, and I actually had to lift down the straightaways a little bit because he wouldn't let me outside, and I wasn't going in the sucker hole and let Johnny pass me on the outside. And my only shot was trying to get Todd outside of me, and I was 6 inches away up there, man. I about had him on the outside, but he had enough room to close the door, and I was fighting Johnny off. And you know, congratulations to Todd. I wanted it bad, but Jeff Toyota ran great. You guys did a great job in the pits, and we ran first and second all day long. You can't argue with that. So just want to say hi to my daughter Paige. I'll be home shortly, and we'll get him next year.
Jack Sprague finishes in the top 10 in series points for the 9th consecutive year. Wendy.
And so the celebration showers continuing on the celebration or championship stage. Jimmy Smith claiming the first win in the 11 years he's been with the Truck Series.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
We look at the unofficial points. Ted Musgrave claiming the top spot. Lost a few points to Dennis Setzer, but it didn't matter.
How about Todd Bodine closed it within 70 points at the end?
Todd Cleaver just outside of the top 10. Jimmy Spencer, David Rudiman dropping out as well after that early problems with his truck. They continue to celebrate on the stage. DW, you've done that quite a few times.
Well, it's just so exciting. Thank you for letting me be up here, guys. It's exciting to be a part of a championship weekend. No matter what role you might be playing, it takes a lot of people to win a championship, and I know there's a lot of people sighing a big relief after this race.
Rick, Darrell, I'm so excited for Jimmy Smith, a stalwart of the series. Ted Musgrave, been racing for 35 years, finally got his first championship. My old crew chief, Gene Neate, gets his first championship. Great day for Ultra Motorsports.
And the celebration will continue for our champions as well as Todd Bodine. That can't go unspoken as far as his third win in the last 3 races. As we wrap up the 10-year anniversary celebration for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, we reflect back on all of the drivers that have graced victory lanes across the country since the series' inception in 1995. A series that was born on the short tracks has grown into its surroundings. They're drivers that have made a career of the Truck Series and ones that have started here on their way to superstardom. 54 in all have won during the 267 race history, from Mike Skinner, who won the very first race as well as the first championship, to Todd Bodine, who celebrates his 7th win here at Homestead-Miami. A series that has made its identity tough trucks, tough racing. All starts with tough drivers. Championships in the Truck Series have come down to the last race and sometimes the last lap in virtually every year of the Truck Series, proving just how difficult it is to have the title of champion inked after your name. Only 8 men can say they are a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion. A new ambassador for the series was crowned this evening. And with that responsibility comes the history of the other 53 drivers that have won in the truck races. Well, Speed Channel would like to thank you, the fans, that have allowed us to bring the best racing into your homes week in and week out. It takes a lot of people to put on the shows that you're able to see week in and week out. We'd like to thank Keith D'Alessandro, our producer, who does all of the work behind the scenes, his assistant and associate producer, Corey Kelly, Michael Flanagan, also involved. And we've got a couple guys that helped us all year long, getting us the pictures as they went around the track. Rich Russo, Gary Clem, and Mike Wells, our directors. We want to say thank you and have a great retirement to Chuck Mills, who is finishing his 30 years of service right here this championship weekend in Miami. We'd also like to thank the people who joined us up here in the booth this year. John Andretti, Boris Said, Hank Parker Jr., Kenny Wallace, DW, and Larry McReynolds up here in the booth with us. And thanks Bob Dillner for helping us out on pit road. Ted Musgrave, the 2005 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion, the 8th different champion in this series.